64 years. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. In the sports world, that's practically a lifetime. But believe it or not, it's been exactly 64 years since any national team successfully defended a FIFA World Cup title. You'd have to go all the way back to Brazil in 1962 to see it happen. Since then, every single defending champ has fallen short. They usually just collapse under that immense, crushing weight of expectation. But today, we're looking at a squad that might just completely defy history. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty bold thesis: why Argentina is perfectly equipped to break this 64-year curse and win back-to-back World Cups in 2026. Now, I know the betting markets and statistical models might not have them as the absolute runaway favorites right now. But honestly, if you take a look under the hood, it reveals a totally different story. By diving into their data, their psychology, and their completely unique tactical setup, you'll see a team that's uniquely positioned to pull off the impossible. So, let's just get right into this blueprint. To really understand why Argentina is so dangerous, we're going to look at 4 key pillars: the psychological edge, the tactical rebellion, the squad evolution, and finally, the verdict, where we'll actually map out their tournament path. All right, Pillar 1, the psychological edge, or as I like to call it, the mindset of champions. To really get what makes this current Argentina squad tick, you have to think about the absolute crushing weight they carried for 36 years trying to match Diego Maradona's legacy, right up until they lifted that trophy in Qatar. Shedding all that historic baggage actually forged something sports psychologists call championship memory. Basically, when a knockout match gets unbelievably tight, or a penalty shootout is looming, these players don't have to wonder if they can survive. Their brains literally already have the hard evidence that they can. They won the hardest way imaginable in 2022. And having that shared memory, it acts as a massive psychological shield. And just look at their captain, Lionel Messi. I mean, for 15 years, the heaviest question in all of football just hung over his head. Can he win the World Cup? Well, that's permanently answered now. He's heading into his record 6th World Cup, and he'll be turning 39 during the tournament. That is practically a grandpa in football years. But because he's arriving with absolute post-validation freedom, he's out there playing purely for the joy of it. And let me tell you, a Messi playing without any psychological weight is a truly terrifying prospect for the rest of the world. You see, while Argentina is operating with this total psychological clarity, just look around at their main rivals. France is still carrying around near-miss trauma after losing the 2022 final when they practically had one hand on the trophy. England is dealing with 60 years of historic hurt. Brazil hasn't won the whole thing since 2002. So Argentina is really the only elite squad entering 2026 knowing exactly how to win, completely free from all those ghosts of the past. Moving on to Pillar 2, the tactical rebellion. This is all about how they're swimming against the tide of modern football. Because the thing is, Argentina isn't just psychologically different. Their actual on-field strategy completely defies the hyper-athletic European trends that totally dominate the modern game. Modern football is obsessed with sheer speed, high pressing, rigid positional play, the whole shebang. But Argentina, frankly, they just lack the physicality for that. So instead, they rely on this awesome old-school concept called relationism. Basically, they group their players closely together, focus heavily on passing networks, and completely dictate their own slower rhythmic pace. They defend zonally, so they just absorb pressure instead of running themselves into the ground. They literally force the opponent to play the game entirely on Argentina's terms. And this tactical rebellion, it's completely mastered by their central midfield trio, Rodrigo de Paul, Alexis McAllister, and Enzo Fernandez. Because these guys understand each other's positioning at a level forged through multiple major tournaments, they can fluidly shift formations without having to rely on that exhausting physical pressing. De Paul gives them the absolute bite. McAllister brings this incredibly calm composure, and Fernandez has that ridiculous passing range. Having this kind of central dominance is exactly what gives Messi the freedom to just drift around and create magic, without having to worry about defensive duties. Let's jump to Pillar 3, the squad evolution. This is where we look at how they balance the core veterans with the future stars. Now obviously a brilliant tactical system is really only as good as the players executing it, but their foundational strength here is just staggering continuity. Manager Lionel Scaloni has actually retained 17 players from that Qatar squad. Why does that matter? Well, it gives them unmatched shared knockout experience and this on-field shorthand that literally no other nation possesses. Plus, you've got Emiliano Martinez in goal. His absolute psychological dominance in penalty shootouts gives them a massive automatic edge whenever a match gets tight. But Scaloni also knows this aging core cannot run an 8-game marathon all by themselves. Which brings us to a really beautiful problem to have. a fierce internal striker battle. On one hand, you've got Lautaro Martinez, an elite traditional box striker who's coming off of a totally brilliant Serie A season. But then, you also have Julian Alvarez. He is this relentless pressing machine, and his off-the-ball movement is what creates all that vital space for Messi. Having two world-class guys with completely different profiles, it gives Scaloni immense tactical flexibility depending entirely on exactly who they're facing on any given day. And stepping up right behind those guys is the hungry next generation. You've got to watch out for players like Valentin Barco, bringing incredible dynamic attacking versatility on the left side, or Giuliano Simeone, who just injects this relentless, chaotic intensity on the wing, and Nico Paz, who provides elegant, piercing vision right in the midfield. These younger guys, they haven't won a World Cup yet, so they provide the hunger, the constant running, and those absolutely vital fresh legs that the aging veterans simply can't sustain across a really long tournament anymore. Alright, that brings us to Pillar 4, the verdict. Let's look at how they actually plan to navigate the 2026 gauntlet. To ground all this theory in reality, let's look at their actual path. And honestly, the draw has been pretty kind to them. They're sitting in Group J alongside Algeria, Austria, and World Cup debutants Jordan. Now sure, Austria's high press could definitely be a test, but overall, this is a highly navigable schedule. And that is absolutely crucial, because winning this group smoothly means Scaloni can actively manage the minutes of his older stars, guys like Messi, Otamendi, and De Paul. He can keep them fresh for when things get really brutal in the knockout stages. However, we can't ignore the fact that the threats are severe. With the new expanded 40-18 format, it now takes 8 games to win the whole thing. 8 games, spread over 39 grueling days in the absolute sweltering heat of a North American summer. For an aging core, the risk of soft tissue injuries isn't just some small possibility, it's a massive, looming threat. And if they advance deep into the tournament, they're eventually going to collide with faster, deeper European teams like Spain or France. That is really going to test the reliance on an older Messi's fitness to the absolute limit. So how do the analysts actually view this exact tension? Well, according to Goldman Sachs' statistical models, Argentina is sitting right at the top of the pack. They hold a 14% chance of winning the whole tournament. That actually ties them with France, sitting just slightly behind the overall favorites, Spain. So the data clearly proves they aren't just relying on past glory, right? They are a current, highly elite threat fully capable of going the distance. Meanwhile, if you look at prediction markets like Polymarket, they place them just a little bit lower, hovering around 9%. That puts them slightly behind France, Spain, and England. And you know, this perfectly encapsulates their status right now. They aren't the overwhelming runaway favorites they might have been right after Qatar, but they are undeniably right there in the hunt. The market respects them as a massive danger to literally any single team they step on the pitch with. So, to sum it all up, to actually pull off this back-to-back miracle and defend the World Cup, Argentina is going to need a near-perfect knockout run. They have to win their group efficiently, they absolutely must keep Messi healthy for the clutch moments, and they'll need to rely on that unmatched psychological edge to hold up when they're facing down younger, faster, and incredibly motivated European squads. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Can a team of aging stars, relying on a slower, old-school tactical rhythm and pure, proven championship mentality, truly defy the hyper-athletic metrics of modern football to make history? Well, we'll find out very soon.